My experience from OU in Chillicothe was very interesting. When I came back, I had started my degree in '93, '94, and decided to come back and finish my degree. How was I going to fit in with 18-year-olds? And because that was a whole different world that they're coming from than the experiences I've had, obviously. And, oh my gosh, here's an 18-year-old, what do I have in common with an 18-year-old? And she's looking at me, oh my God, what do I have in common with this old woman,
Focus. I love the idea that yes, this is easier for people who work full-time, have families, don't quite know what career paths they want, or know exactly what career paths they want. They need to get it done quickly.
Education was my missing piece, not just for the background of how we got to where we are, but now I can fill in the rest of the blanks with the formal education and then put it with the practical application and look like a pretty good future as far as I was concerned.
I have vets from multiple wars. I have parents and grandparents. I have people who have had multiple careers. I have people who have lived in different cities, different states, different countries. For traditional students, being around that.
If you have an older person, they have a lot of life wisdom and life experience that they can give to the younger students.
They live a different life, different world. And I don't think anything can replace that.
When they start talking to the professors about their life experiences, I mean, it's like they're part of the teaching too.
It's a wonderful experience because the older students got keyed into what's going on through an 18-year-old's mind, and the world that they live in, which was completely different than the world that I was living in. And I think from their perspective, they got to see what a 50-year-old or 45 or whatever the age difference was, what their world was, and yet it's the same world and it was so different. And the differences actually became strengths, and it was a nice experience.
I mean, that's part of our design, is to create this amazing dynamic between traditional and non-traditional students. And I've heard both of them, my non-trads and my trads, sorry, that was my shorthand, talk about how great it is to be able to sort of interact with people who are in some ways so alien, so different from them in terms of age and life experience, but you have the same job to do, you have the same paper to write, you have the same test to take.
You're just a student, and it didn't matter how you got here or why you were here or what the circumstances were. You're just a student.
I get frustrated about in contemporary education is that education's over there, classes are over there, and then that real life thing is somehow through that magical door. I absolutely get so frustrated at that distinction. And one of the things that OUC does beautifully is it says there is no distinction. There is no magical difference between real life and the class. Let's keep those doors open, and no matter where you're coming from, we can keep that transition happening. And I think that's just fantastic, honestly.
When you get out into the workforce, you're not just going to work with people your age. You're not just going to be around people of the same ethnicity as you.
The reason we have education in our country is to transform the way we think and live, to become more ethical, to become more open, not only in America but on the global stage.
It's a very diverse world, and this is the best place to start because it's not a huge, gigantic campus, and you do have the age diversity, and you can find out that maybe you fit well better with older people versus younger people based on your maturity level or your interests.
To hold multiple ideas at the same time pleasantly and use the synergy between those different perspectives to create new perspectives. This is the stuff that happens in our classroom at OUC every day.
I would say that having older people make the classroom environment more mature. Like, it's not just a bunch of kids sitting around talking. I mean, there are people that truly want to better themselves.
That old saying, if you don't know where you've been, how do you know where you're going? So for me, it filled in a whole lot of blanks that I'd been in that workforce and said, okay, this is how things are, but how did we get here?
They do have the life experience that they can incorporate with the classes, whereas younger people don't because they don't really have that life experience.
It's just amazing to see those types of connections where the things that make us different actually become bridges between us, and it's just fantastic.
If you have somebody that can give you that advice and help and put the knowledge of the life experience with the knowledge you need to know for the classroom, it really helps and puts it into perspective and applies it to life.
Through the experience of, you know, being in this class and the demands and what was needed to be successful for both of us, you know, the boundaries that we thought were there just disappeared. And then after that first class, it didn't matter if you were 50 or if you were 18 years old, you were a student.
You can look at people who, in any other context, would probably not like each other. In any other context, would probably not have a reason to talk or maybe even get along. They have to do this project together, or they're working on a similar project that aligns them. And they come up with ideas and ways of thinking and seeing that I don't think you see in other institutions.
Everybody's going through, you know, all the same trials and tribulations as far as how to be successful and how to move forward and how do we reach graduation. And those alliances and the friendships that are built, age is not the issue. Take that leap. Don't be afraid to imagine a better future. Regardless of the obstacles, if you want it and you can help put those pieces in place, there's enough people that will be willing to help because you're not alone.
Almost every non-trad I've met has dreamed of a different life for 10 years, 15 years, and they just thought maybe it wasn't for them. Maybe they've made their choices and this is where they are, or it's going to be too hard. And the simple truth of it is, the hard part is that one choice. Do I go for an orientation? Do I sign up for one class?
It is a challenge and it's going to be difficult, but it'll be the best challenge you ever had because look at the life you're setting up yourself up for.
Once non-trads are in the classroom and once they're here, they see more pathways than they've ever imagined in their entire lives to the careers that they want, to lifestyles that they want, but didn't even know existed.
In spite of all obstacles, I was a success and you can be too.